Hello everyone, welcome to a Prepper Network update. Let me know if you can hear me. Somebody in the chat, first one that can, let me know if you can see and hear me okay. And then we can crack on. Loads of people in the chat already. I see Miss Worms in there moderating. Thank you very much for that. Lots of green names, loads of members. Love to see it. Loud and clear, says Renegade Preppers. Thank you very much. I can hear you, says Miss Worm. Right, so we're going to be a bit meatloaf tonight because I've got this because it's going to be the warmest live ever because it is like a little sauna with this computer in front of you and the current heat as it is. Great to see you all here. It's unpromptu random live. We're testing the signal quality through the power line adapters, stuff like that for future streams. I've got a little half signal measure on there, so it looks okay to me, but I'll be able to check it. I don't need constant reports. I'll check it on the replay afterwards. Might get aircon. Yeah, it's a good idea. Alan Bald, I love that one. Hotter than a smackhead spoon. Right. Somebody's refusing to go to sleep, so you can play while I'm on here. There, they know how to work it. Right. Let's get on and do all the updates. If you want to join me this evening and have a chat live, I will post the link. There's also questions at the end, so if you just want to ask a question in the chat, feel free to pop that in capitals or use the super chat option, stuff like that. The names going across the bottom here are our gold contributors from the network. These guys at any one time have given more than £25 in a single donation, not to buy something, just a donation to the network. So that's why they're gold and that's why their names are there. So thank you to all you guys. You're all super awesome. And Hawkins, I changed your name so it's spelt correctly. So be happy. But speaking of the network, let's have a look. Right, so Discord, 294 members on Discord now, 294 people genuinely interested, part of and helping out the UK Prepper Network and helping each other. And that's what this whole thing's been about. I mean, I'm amazed. I was expecting 50 or 60 people to take up on it, but it's took so well. And sometimes it does get overwhelming with the amount of messages and stuff in there and the categories, but it is what it is. Nearly 300 members in there, which is awesome. 19 of which are the gold supporters that you see going across the bottom. And of course, this channel, my channel, is all about pushing the network, and the channel now has 10,294 subscribers. Soon there'll be a 10k giveaway. I need to figure it out what you want. With 1.1 million views and 95,500 watch hours. People have watched me for that long, which I find absolutely insane. Brum Prep, thank you for the super sticker, £2 super sticker there. I do really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking any credit for any of this. This is all you guys. So round of applause, pat yourselves on the back, whatever you need to do, have a cigar, etc. You guys have done all that, and that's absolutely superb. Bombardier gutted, should have kept Hawkins' name spelt wrong. I'm open to bribes, Andy. I'm open to bribes. There's a fan that can go underneath your t-shirt for men's trousers. There we go. I'll have to have a look for that one. How much do we need to donate to get Hackins back? I love it. I can vouch for aircon. I use it 5 or 6 days a year, but the heavenly days when I use it. Well, yeah, maybe it's something I should invest in if we're going to get warmer and warmer days like this. A certain big prepper will be after you with those numbers. Now, I don't think so. I'm not even touching the sides of that yet. Right. Please no MRE veggie sausages in the 10k giveaway. I don't know. I was thinking, I've got quite a few different bags and carry cases. I was thinking of putting together like an everyday carry bag, like, or a little ED or get home, like a little get home bag for somebody that doesn't live more than a, doesn't work more than a few hours away, just making it as a ready to go thing and doing that as a giveaway, maybe a few other things. So Towels and fans. I've got my towel here. I'm all right. There we go. Just do this. I need somebody doing it for me. But yeah. So, anyway, we digress. The network growth is all down to you guys. Absolutely superb. Keep it up. The more people are involved, the more people are prepping, the less people we have to save, the less people we have to worry about, and the better we're all going to be for it. Everyone's just talking about how hot and how to cool down, so I'll leave you there. Don't forget capsules if you want a question answering and stuff like that, and I'll try and star it and remember it for afterwards, and hopefully we'll have a few guests joining me for the second part. So that one, right, there we go. Woo, cutscenes. So the network meets. Please work. There we go. So this is the Midlands Outdoor and Survival Facebook group. If you're not part of this, become part of this. If you've not got Facebook, create an account with Joe Blogs and stuff like that. It's not OPSEC. You can be as safe as you want by giving them whatever name you want. So just make sure you get on there. They've got 602 members inside this group. It's an open to the public group, but all the events will always go in here. And we've got the Pembrokeshire Prepper Meet, which starts tomorrow. And you can still go. Email mike.chivers at corefmradio.com and let him know you want to go, and you pay cash there. It's £6 per person per night. I'm going down on the Saturday morning and I'll be there through till Sunday. So if you've not already had a chance, go and check that out. Did a whole video about it and you can find the details on here. Then we've got the Cornwall Outdoor and Survival Meet. That's the 25th of July to the 27th of July. That's run by my friend Jim Moss, who you might remember from the podcasts. He does the No Shit Radio. And then we've got Shropshire RV and Swap Meet, which is 25th and 27th of July. So if you're in that kind of area. And yeah, and of course, Seymour, there we go. Haha, Seymour. Midlands Outdoor and Survival Meet, which me, Brian, and Andy so far are going to go down. And, you know, if Viking Mitch is okay with it, we might even do a little live from that one as well, because we know we can do it now, ish. But that's going to be a great one, quite a central location as well, so you want to put that one in your calendar for sure. And then Piners Preppers again at the 3rd to 6th of October. I want to try and get to that one because I've not been to a Piners one yet. I couldn't get there yet. So that is them. That is this year. They are what you want to stick in your calendar. But I have to mention our Scottish Prepper Meet, of course, because we're up to 26 pitches sold. And it's a year away. It's more than a year away. Just over a year away. 26 pitches sold. Bear in mind, this time we only had 25 pitches available. We've got more space this time, but it is selling fast. And it's like Glastonbury for preppers. So make sure you get your tickets in. Don't think you can wait till next year, because there'll be nothing left. Nothing left. So this is the Shop UK Prep site. Just search Scottish Prepper Meet on there. Pick your camper or tent, number of guests that's going to be in the pitch. So you only have to book one pitch, even if there's 3 people there. And then the date of arrival. Everyone pays for a weekend ticket. It's a fixed price, but if you're going to arrive on Saturday, it's just good for us to know so we can do the logistics behind it. So, yeah. Cool. That's the meets. Who's going where? Let me know if you're going to any of them meets in the chat. I'd love to know who's going where. Ceiling fans from TikTok Shop are amazing. I've got them in every room now. Is that the ones, Liam Mac, where it's replaced? It's just the bulb, isn't it? So you just screw the bulb in and it's got the fan. I just feel like the whole fixture would be doing this. I don't trust TikTok Shop. Many don't. Many don't. Yes. Happy birthday to Evil Girl 87. Very many happy returns from all of us from the Prepper Network. Hopefully the signal's okay. It keeps dropping down a bit. I'm hoping this goes all right. If you saw that Suburban, then that would have been Brian's only cans page, so don't worry about it. John C in the house, how you doing? There you go. There's the link. Thank you, Miss Worm. Appreciate that. Marty7787, ahoy, fellow preppers. I can't see any questions in there, so that's the meat side of things done. What's next on the agenda? This one. So yes, the charity fundraiser, which is still happening now. It's the date was pushed to the 23rd of August. I've started training now properly in the gym, etc., getting everything sorted, really going for it. We've had awesome response on here, 1,072 on Just Giving, and we've got more as well through PayPal, because you can donate through that. There's multiple ways you can donate, and the stuff from my channel on the month it was supposed to be, and probably the last couple of weeks before the event, will also go into the pot. Yes, I am going to end up with my legs waxed, right? I mean, all donations are gratefully received, but that's happening now, so you can all rejoice in the fact that you're going to get to see that at some point. Mrs. Urban Prepper waxing my legs, knee down only, on a live stream. So that will be happening, but that doesn't mean stop giving. Just Giving, anything you could spare. If it's a couple of quid, you know, if you've paid everything and you've got £2 odd left in your bank, if you could spend £2 and do the gift aid as well, because then the government puts a bit in, every little helps. It all goes to an awesome charity, which is Help for Heroes. So the Just Giving link, I can just post it straight in the chat here. Miss Worm's probably already ahead of me, but I'll pop it in there anyway. That's the Just Giving link. You can, like I say, oh, she's already done it. Look at that, she's way ahead of me. You can donate other ways, but Just Giving is the best way. Some people don't like putting the details in and stuff like that, so you can use PayPal, you can use other ways, but it is the best way to do it through Just Giving. Cuts all the middlemen out, and they give you a bit of a contribution as well. So the good news is we've raised a shed load of money already for Help for Heroes, which is absolutely buzzing, and they won't even send me a t-shirt. Shocking. I'll have to buy one. So that cycle will be going ahead. Hopefully I get to meet a few years on the journey and stuff like that. I bet that live stream loses monetization on the first pull of the wax strip. I'll try and do my best for it not to. No, it can't happen at the Midlands meet. I'm not doing it at a meet, because Mrs. Urban Prepper's doing it. She's got the whole bowl of wax she wants to do all. She's got a heart set on causing me pain now, so you can't take that away from her. I will do it. The live stream will be after the Midlands meet and before the cycle, so it'll be that week before. So I'm going to be cycling with nice, you know, streamline and very sore legs, so that should be fun. That's when it'll happen, I should think. Happy birthday. Yes, thank you very much. Wishing Evil Girl a happy birthday there. Where's the Midlands meet taking place? The Midlands meet is it's Derbyshire. Let me pull up the actual Newhouse Farm, it's called. You wanna see? There we go. This is Newhouse Farm. Sophisticated website from the 90s. Maybe they need some web design guy to help them out. I'll have to speak to them. But yeah, so you book in through there. It's here. Whoop, 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 whoop. So closest is Ashbourne, big town sort of thing. But yeah, it's here. It's kind of in the middle-ish, further north than Derby. But yeah, it's It's a little windy road to get to, but it is a really nice venue. If you're a bit squeamish about toilet things, maybe bring your own seat covers because it's long drop toilets, sawdust on, stuff like that. It's fine. We're preppers. We should be ready for it. But there you go. That's the only thing. But well worth going down. It's a great venue. It's a great place. And there's some lovely little walks off there as well if you want to just go for a walk. There's like a quarry bit and stuff. So good for exploring as well. But like I say, all details go on the Midlands Outdoor Survival on Facebook and you'll find everything on there. That's next to me, says preparing the path. Miss Worm put the Discord link in there. I'm surprised if anybody's not on the Discord who's in here now, but I appreciate everyone who is. Right, what's next? What is next? Right, let's get to the seriously not fun stuff now. So we're going to look through some of the news. What's going on at the moment, reasons we prep, etc. I'll speak to you in the chat, we'll take questions, and then I will post the link to come and join me. So please let me know in the chat, big block capitals, if you want to join in, and I'll get you on board. Right, so I wanted to go through, it's not all prepping news as such, but just what's in the news and stuff like that. And I wanted to get your input on stuff. So the first one's not really prepper related. It is kind of, it's weird. It's just the UK in general and what you think of our system. So it's this basically. The police officer left with broken nose after Manchester brawl. Tells the court she was terrified. So let's wait for the advert to play there and then we'll have a look at the footage. Gotta love BBC. This is where I get demonetized, by the way, but never mind. Here's the moment where they captured him. And this one kicks off and the mother's in there trying to stop it as well. He gets tased. And the big controversy at first was because the officer, when the guy's down the floor, puts the boot in on his head. I don't know if you're hearing the audio on that. But yeah, the big thing was the officer putting the boot in on the head. And people saying, oh, look, and somebody snipped just that bit and put it on social media and put it down as police brutality. But what it was in the end was, this is the footage of the actual BBC. Can you hear the audio on the tab? Let me know if you can or not. Make an example of them, heavy sentences. Surprised no other men stepped in to get involved. Embarrassing. Yeah, apparently just people just filming on the phones. That is what the society become these days. There's an emergency going on, I'll film it. And let's make this full screen here. No audio. Yeah, there's no audio on a lot of this footage anyway, but it's fine. We'll just show it. So it shows the police coming in. So the jury's watched this footage now. And they're clearly just trying to restrain him at first and getting absolutely punched all over the place. She gets knocked down there. This one's getting knocked all over the place. And then once the guy in the blue is down, the male officer puts the boot in. But, I mean, sorry, adrenaline and all your colleagues have just been attacked. Here you go. There. I think he's justified. Did he take something off him there? Did he kick him to try and get something off him? There we go. So I wanted basically to get your opinion on this, because should we take the gloves off for the police, or is the police having too much power dangerous? There's different schools of thought in it. Please be careful what's said. It's an ongoing trial. I mean, it's all over the news. It's on the mainstream media, so I don't think we can say anything that's not already been said. The jury separates themselves from that. So I didn't mute the audio. The audio just it doesn't come through on this tab view. It's the only way I can get through all the news bits. So lost a flip-flop in there. I feel sorry for the officers, says Reese. Diversity is our greatest strength, apparently. There's nothing wrong with diversity. I don't. It's people are assholes no matter where they're from. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. If you're not, you're not. Surprise! Taser was used at one point. I'm sure the taser was used. We can still discuss it. It's been discussed all over YouTube and all over different channels. It's fine. If I get demonetized, if I get a slap on the wrist, it's fine. We're discussing. So the question is, for me, is not these two guys. Hopefully they'll get their comeuppance. It's as police in the UK, because this is about prepping, right? Do you feel safe? Do you think the police should have more powers? Do you think the police should have the gloves taken off a bit? And who would be a police officer now when you defend yourself and you've got a risk of being prosecuted? Exactly. Mad Chick Acres knows the score. The police are scared to do anything anymore. Any other country that would have gone a different way, says Sambo Rambo. Arm them, says Brum Prep. Well, I mean, you go around Manchester, like when the Christmas market's on, they're all armed police. But even if you're an armed police officer, the amount of mental gymnastics and moral dilemmas would have to go through your head. Because you pull that trigger, you could be going jail. Even if you've saved somebody's life. It's absolute madness. I do think police don't do a good enough job protecting us civilians, but can they? Do you think they can? Is that beyond their control? Pay police more, employ Titan cops instead of little policelets. Police have sufficient powers. They are being let down by the management, who are only interested in appeasing certain factions, says Miss Worm. Interesting. Right. Let's move on. That's one of the first discussion points. Like I say, if you want to join in the live, I'm going to post the link now. Ready. Here is the link to join the live. When you join, you'll be in the lobby at the bottom. And I'll bring you into it during. So there we go. Be nice, play nice. Let's keep the stream sensible. There's the link. Right. So that's talking point 1. Talking point 2 is, of course, heat health alerts and hosepipe ban issued to third heat wave hits the UK. The other thing I've seen, which is not on this bit, but have you seen on social media when it was 28 degrees in the 90s, it was a lovely little green map with the sun and everyone's enjoying it. Now 28 degrees is a big red scary map. So the heat wave is the next discussion point, and the hosepipe ban. Renegade Preppers is joining us. Hello. You are muted, sir.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Get used to technology. I blame the heat. Hello, everybody. Hello, chat. How's everyone doing?
How's you? How are you doing?
Oh, you know, you've been through it. Move, stress, the same old, but all good.
Oh, it's ongoing and ongoing.
Oh yeah. Excuse the bad backdrop. We're upset hell. So
that's absolutely fine. So the heat wave. How are you enjoying the heat wave, Renegade?
Oh, I'm loving it.
You're not worried about the hosepipe ban and these big scary orange blocks on the map. Orange blocks, mind. Red blocks here. Red.
Well, think of it this way. We've prepped for this. Amos Worm. No, we've prepped for this. We're preppers. We've got reserves. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I've got a cloth and lots of water. It's fine.
Exactly. Recycle it. Put it into a pot. Boil it. You're good to go again.
Everyone's saying aircon because of Brian getting aircon. But yeah, I just think it's ridiculous that we would. I mean, I remember summer holidays as a kid where 32 degrees was a great day, 28 degrees was an average day, but now all of a sudden it's a health risk and warning. Do you think the water situation in the UK is that bad that we have a, within blink of an eye, we have a drought? Surely when we get so much rainfall, that shouldn't happen, right?
Surely not. I mean, look at me being a Welshie. I can safely say 40 days of rain and 40 nights was our driest summer on record. But still, the reservoirs are drying up. I mean, without giving too much away, just over a few miles away towards New Inn, we've got a reservoir, Landegford Reservoir, and that's already starting to drop below normal levels already. So,
are we that complacent with not having hot weather that we're just not ready? We just don't store enough water, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we've stored enough water now for the last 10, 15 years. I mean, think of all the droughts we started having towards the 2015 summers that started to get hotter there.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Weather. Anyone else wants to discuss the weather? I'll go to the chat shortly. We'll get through the last two news bit. Well, the last one news bit, and then we can just have an open discussion. Then the link is in the chat if anybody else wants to join as well. So the last news bit is the threat to the UK. So I don't know if you've seen this, Renegade. So physical threat from Iran on people living in the UK has increased significantly, Watchdog says. So Intelligence Security Committee says there have been 15 Iran-backed murder or kidnap attempts on the UK targets since the beginning of 2022 and August 23. So this is like individual cases and stuff like that, and we were all talking about terrorist cells that they could activate. They're finally acknowledging that this is a genuine threat. MI5 threat level has not moved though, but it has been at substantial for quite a while, which is an attack. I still can't get used to this. When I was in, it was bikini alert level. Now it's all this. So substantial, an attack is likely. I mean, that's scary to be in a constant state of an attack is likely. So, I mean, Iran's getting bullied and pushed back, as it were, which we expected. They're never going to compete with the might of if the US get involved like they did. Do you think that we could see activity in the UK?
Oh, yeah, if we haven't already. I mean, granted, Palestine Action is now a prescribed terrorist organization after what happened with Bryce Norton being a major security breach. So we've seen that in a sense.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, look at all the actual attacks ramping up over the last 3 days. I mentioned to you earlier about Ukraine. Look at the intensifying attacks that's coming from talks of not just Iran and Israel and their peace, well, so-called peace deal and ceasefire, but also what's going on in London on our front door.
Yeah. But London's a different country from the rest of us, right?
Clearly. I mean, look, me and Mrs. RP were watching The Darkest Hour the other night.
Yeah.
Just use that as an example. You know, we're starting to see similarities to that now, especially with war games.
Yeah, I mean, the war games thing, it was great to start with, but the last episode was a proper cop-out.
Oh, yeah, I was not impressed.
It was like, this is not even, it felt like the middle of an episode, and they're just like, index. I'm like, no, unindex. Go back, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, but I mean,
I wasn't the only one who thought the same. Like, it was more of a cliffhanger more than an actual ending.
I'd like to think somebody took note though, and we are going to increase spending and maybe stockpile. But I mean, that's what they've said they're going to do. But making a 10-year promise when you're going to be lucky to have 4 years in office is great, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's if you've got even 4 years now. I mean, watching the coverage throughout the day with the what they call it now, the reconstruction efforts for Ukraine.
Yeah,
me and Mrs. RP watching the stream of that earlier on, and then the press conference shortly after. And I don't think we got 4 years before, Russia and good old mad Vlad is knocking at the door.
Yeah, I mean,
sleeper cells, throughout the world. We know this. Look all the way back to the early days of Afghanistan and that. There was talks of sleeper cells even then. And
oh yeah.
the fact that magically people are disappearing in Russia, which we all know what's going on and what's being said in the news.
That's been the
about...
case for a long time. Thank
Oh,
you for
yeah.
the super chat there, Evil Girl, £1.50. Really appreciate that.
Definitely. But no, it's you look at it now, we haven't got 4. 3
No.
at best, 3.5, really at a push if the odds are in our favour. And I say ours just for chat's benefit, mainly being UK as well as the EU, because we all know if Ukraine falls, that's it.
Yeah, so you're following the Ukraine stuff very closely, right?
Yeah, that's what we had to stick to for a while, because
so how do you see that panning out? Because there's support, then the support's being pulled, stuff like that. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a constant stalemate until Russia attacks a Baltic state or does something stupid like that. But I don't know if they do that. I don't know if this is what BRICS is all about at the end of the day. Now they're getting the backing of everyone else. You know, do they think they're going to be able to push further? Where do you see that going based on what you've been looking at?
This will sound so cocky, so I apologize, but I've been itching for someone to ask me that question, because sitting with Mrs. RP, you know, yourself, Mike, you know, sitting with your own partner discussing it's totally different than actually having an outsider's perspective. Yeah. So over the last 3 days, I would say, where the most intense attacks have been hit, the focal point being on Kiev and Kharkiv. The way I see it going, Zelensky at the minute, with all the influx of aid coming in from not only us, but from the EU as well as America, even though there was this whole, we're going to stop all aid coming into Ukraine temporarily, even though Trump had no ideas, apparently. How much of that is true, I don't know. But if you ask me, he's the president. He should have known something. But the way and direction it's all going, people are sticking their noses in more, like they are with negotiations. They can see peace talks are failing. I mean, Friedrich Merz and Ursula von der Leyen mentioned about it earlier on, that peace is no longer a clear option. So they're building up defense. That's all well and good. Ukraine is constantly under bombardment and losing numbers quicker. Not as quick as Russia, but quicker than they have done in the last 6 months. And every day it's the same story. Oh, tonight was the worst bombardment of Ukraine. Oh, tonight was the worst bombardment of the war in Ukraine.
So it's ramping worse every night. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not talking just the odd, oh, there's only an extra 150 drones that were sent this night or 50 drones that night. They're going from 300 to 400 drones a night up to 500 to 700 drones a night.
Right.
And the thing is, there's talks now that Kiev is looking into chemical warfare because they think Russia's used some kind of chemical warfare. That, take with a pinch of salt, I only managed to catch that on agenda-free TV. But it's you know, the way that Zelensky has made himself to be is, we're suffering, but we're holding. And we've all seen it. We can see that firsthand, like if you watch cams and things like
nobody can doubt their resilience at all.
Oh, no. They are seriously strong. I mean, don't get me wrong. A few mates of mine, we were all saying, how long do we think Ukraine would last? And
yeah, but I mean, so if I'd have asked you that question before the conflict started,
I would have given them 18 months. 24 months max.
I wouldn't have given that. I mean, based on what we thought Russia had and thought their military capabilities were versus Ukraine's, I thought they'd have been steamrolled in a month or two.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm glad to be proved wrong, 100%. But
definitely.
I wouldn't have expected it to go on as long as it has.
No. But that's the thing. Nobody did. And all we heard was, oh, there will be peace talks, even though there's still ongoing conflict, there will be peace talks. Yeah, Zelensky always made sure either himself was there or one of his envoys.
Mm-hmm.
Russia did not. Why? Yeah. Oh, he won't come out because there's an international arrest warrant. Okay, well, clearly he doesn't care.
Yeah. Let's have a look at a few of the comments on this. First off, Magic Acre said, I'd love to pop in, but likely say something to get you banned in the UK. You're fine. You're fine. Join in. You're all right. Don't worry about it. We'll get demonetized. We'll keep going. Grass Monster, why is the heat crisis here but selling point for holidays abroad? Yeah, exactly. It's just fear. Liam Mack, I think the UK is being targeted as is known as the weakest link. US has plenty of weapons. Europe will stick together. So we are flying solo and the world knows we are broke. And that kind of is emphasized on that Sky War Games, right? When all of a sudden they're asking for help and it's not coming. How realistic do you think that is? Do you think the NATO alliance would be stronger than that? Or do you think that's the kind of reaction we would get?
No, I actually do think we're stronger than that. I do think NATO is going to be stronger than that for one reason. I know it's a comparison to World War II, but look at how strong Germany was during World War II.
Yeah.
Now they're on our side in this sense.
Yeah.
They were strategic, they were tactical, they were advanced.
Mm-hmm.
We've got that on in our favor. We've seen that with not only Frederick Merz, but I can never remember that guy's name. Mark Rutte, that was him. Those two have shown how defiant NATO is going to become. And like they said, I'll quote it as best I can, they're going to be more threatening, more deadly.
But what credibility does the threats have? At the end of the day, do these countries not become more insular when the threat could be potential nuclear war? At the end of the day, whatever we think of Russia and whatever their state their conventional attacking is in, they're still a major nuclear power.
Oh, definitely. But maybe I'm one of those rare few, but I genuinely think this time around, NATO as a whole is going to be stronger. The UK is going to still lead the charge, like Starmer originally said. And I genuinely think we might be able to pull this off. Hell, if Ukraine can last and prove us all wrong so far, anything at this point is possible.
What's the end game, though? Is it just for everyone? Is it just threatening them to the point where they stop the conflict and then they go back to their own borders? How does it end?
My personal thoughts is going to end in World War III, and it's going to be a battle of the sides and see who has the biggest sword. That's what I truly think.
Oh, God, I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong for the sake of my family as well as everyone else's. I really do. And I don't want to be one of those statistics that's a doomsday thinker, if you will. But from what I'm watching most nights, due to insomnia, not being able to sleep, you know, if I'm not mistaken, Mrs. RP, how many explosions went on last night between the hours of 12 a.m. and 3 a.m.? 18? 19?
Something like, in Kiev alone.
In just Kiev alone.
Wow.
That's showing me,
we
know where you are, Zelensky. And if you basically think of it this way, if I can't have it, no one can.
Yeah. There's a lot of resources under Ukraine, right? So it's a big prize at the end of the day for anyone.
And a massive amount of profit, and all Putin thinks of is war, profit, and gains.
Yeah. Curious, Zelensky brought a controlling share of a platinum mine in South Africa. Why? I mean, he's probably just investing his money.
I mean, think about it. You have platinum rings. I mean, you can get platinum rings. So you have one. They can be used for a number of things.
I think you'll find there's a lot of elites that are investing in precious metals all over the place. And we should ask why, and we should be doing the same if we can. Van der Kien, another puppet of the WEF and Davos like Starmer. Didn't she have a vote of no confidence?
That took place literally a few hours ago. Well, I say that now, about 6 hours ago,
Yeah, but she got through that no problems, right?
From what it seems, because shortly after they gave the speech in the restoration thing for Ukraine.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the chat here. Well, Russia can't complain. Don't invade other countries. Says
exactly.
Prep. I mean, do you think his motivation monetary, like you just said, or do you think he has some sort of nostalgia of wanting to rebuild this?
Oh no, it's nostalgia based only.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mentioned the money because at the end of the day, you can't fight a war on penance. You've got to have that funding. And the thing is, the sanctions are taking their toll. Like Zelensky has said today, they are actually finally starting to take their toll. yeah, it's not helping with the conflict per se, with the amount of bombardments and deaths and injuries. However, they have stated that sanctions are working. So it wouldn't be so much the financial. What he's trying, if you ask me, is following in the old-fashioned footsteps of Joseph Stalin.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
Restore the old USSR. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what I think, but that would include obviously attacking NATO states if that's the case, and that's the dangerous escalation point. Yeah,
he's going to do it.
I mean, you say that, but he's frigging mad if he does.
I mean, to be honest, they always say, I mean, it's a reference to Star Wars, but look at the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise. He became so powerful.
Yeah.
Same with Vlad.
This is a scary thing. Russia isn't at war. Nothing even rationed there yet. I don't believe we have seen half of Russia's capabilities, and this war would have been finished a few months without NATO. It's true, yeah. Without the NATO help, I don't think they'd have sustained it at all.
No, they wouldn't have been sustained at all.
The German military are shell of what they once were, in all fairness. I mean, yeah, because they're not going for global domination.
Yeah, exactly.
But they are ramping up in a lot. They're spending more than us. They're more prepared than us, like every other country in Europe. And they're looking at recommissioning like shelters and stuff like that. Yeah. So that they've got their heads screwed on a bit straighter than we have. Britain sticks his head above the parapet and was the first to commit with tanks, etc., as it is a leader and is a leading target. Well, a leading target for that reason. I mean, the war games premise of that is because they wanted us to withdraw everything back to the UK, as it were, which is scary that we're leading the charge without the muscle to back it up, I feel like. Do you feel like we shouldn't be getting involved, or do you think we should be doing what we're doing?
No, I think we should be doing what we're doing because we're still showing one thing. Yes, we're a sovereign state, if you want to class it as that. But not only that, we are still looking after our allies. And the one thing the UK has always prided itself on is looking after others.
Yeah.
Whether it's lasted or not from our own eyes, from living here, that's a different story. But the premise, they're still sticking to the whole, you are now an ally, we have got your back. We're going to show that. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah, in the hope that we'll get the same if we ever needed it, right?
Yeah, that is the hope.
Look how the EU treated the UK over Brexit. That's not how you treat allies. I mean, yeah, this is the scary thing. Who has the numbers for World War III? Not the West. I don't think it's a numbers game. Can you hear me?
One moment, please. Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Can you hear me?
I'll entertain chat with random voices.
Why have you lost my audio?
I won't chat. I'm too tired for that.
Chat, can you hear my audio?
Well, while Mike is sorting out his mic, let's see, what can I read?
I can hear you both, says Apocalypse Now. Look.
There you go.
Look.
I can hear you both. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's you, not me, it's you.
Oh, it's me. No worries. Let's see what I can do.
Mike's fine. There you go. Get me confused there. Lost the chat now. Anybody else joining in? The link is there. Feel free to come and get involved in the conversation. And now then there was one. NATO needs an upgrade their ammunition capacity and making, because I don't think the West would sustain a war. Both 5x5, everyone could hear us both, so it must have been the audio going through to him from me. So not seen the Taurus in use yet, says Philip Hull. Yeah. Cheers for that. Renegade will be back, I assume. It says device is not connected, but he is still at the bottom there. Anybody else wants to join in? Feel free to use the link and come and get involved. Multiple boxes is much easier to have a conversation when it's not me on my own. We don't even have the manufacturing capacity to sustain large-scale warfare, but surely that's how we create jobs, right? That's them saying, "Oh, look, we're creating industry because we need to do munitions and weapons, and war is big money and big employers." So we shall see. Gold mined 300,000 tons annually. Platinum mined 180 to 200 tons annually. That's 15 to 1 gold to platinum. Platinum is a lot rarer and is going to be more expensive than gold. There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's all good. I just had to reset an audio driver. PC got a bit too warm.
All right, like everything else.
Tell you about it.
Mad Chick Acres, who is one of our US friends, says, why would Russia want to start a war anyway? They don't need more land and they have everything they need. Sanctions are pointless. It's true, and you'd think rational wise that would make sense, but I think we're dealing with an irrational concept. Well, yeah, it's... Does he want to leave a legacy? I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand what his thinking is of it. And he says, obviously, their propaganda to their people is that they are liberating Russian people who want to be Russian citizens, right? By taking like the Donetsk regions and annexing Crimea and stuff like that. And
well, they took over Luhansk 2 days ago.
You could do that. I mean, technically, he could claim that same line for most of the Baltic states, right?
Well, yeah.
Like they want to come back to Mother Russia.
And yet, all I have to say is, look at the resistance you're facing, Vlad. It's proof enough.
But it's not put him off. It's not stopped him. This is the thing.
Well, that just shows how much of a delusion it really is and how much of a war path he's on.
I mean, I don't want anyone to stop prep by all means, but I just don't see it getting beyond this tit for tat until it comes to negotiating tables, and Ukraine might have to give up 40% of their land on that side or whatever and create a no man's land, a buffer zone, but I can't see it beyond that. I can't see the attack on NATO. Maybe I don't want to see it, but I just can't see how he could justify it, and how... when he's struggling against the might of NATO equipment and not even our troops, our training, or some of the more advanced stuff, how he could sustain a war against NATO in full.
See, I would have agreed with you to go with the first part of what you were just saying. I would have agreed with you. But when we started seeing the Yantar show up, then the fumbling with the cables.
Yeah.
Then even... I think it was 4 or 5 days ago, they brought up again that there was another Russian ship passing through UK waters. That is what's showing intel. That's showing reconnaissance.
It's also saber rattling, right? They've done this since the Soviet Union, since it all changed. They've always done this saber rattling. Every so often, the newspapers make a big deal that a Russian plane came over and 2 RAF jets had to scramble. It happens more often than you realise. And it happens quite regular.
But the
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Steph. Thanks for joining in.
I've never done one of these before.
It's fine. It's just a random chat and put the worlds to rights like you would in the pub. So.
All good.
I was saying we scramble them jets all the time. And they do that to test our readiness. And that's been the way for the last 20, 30 years. But it's just when they decide to make a big deal out of it, right?
I mean, like I said, I would have agreed with you. But since it's been ramping up more and more, and there's more vessels coming into the UK, especially with 2 cargo vessels, even though they're not ours, but 2 cargo vessels being sunk, I think this time it is a bit more than saber rattling. For the first 2 years of the conflict, I was like, oh, yeah, it's whose D is bigger than whose, as the old saying over here goes. But nah, this time there's something different. The entire feel and the dynamic with how Putin is pressing on not just Ukraine, but NATO borders. I mean, Moldova, for example, if you look at the live war map as it is today, it already looks like part of Putin's army's made it into the outskirts of Moldova, just on the borderline. Same with at the top by, it's not Leningrad. I can't think of the other place up by Finland at the minute, but they've got a base stationed just outside of Finland. So it is more than saber rattling. He's moving assets. You wouldn't do that just to saber rattle, because if you did, you'd be pulling them back within a few months.
It could be posturing. What's your thoughts, Steph? Do you think it's a real, genuine threat, or do you think it's all just saber rattling with it all?
I talk about this a lot with my partner, who's way more into World War II history and clued up, but I can't help but think about mutually assured destruction. What does he get? What does Putin get out of, like, what does he want? More land? Does he want to increase the USSR? Does he want to regain the Soviet Union's glory?
But mutually assured destruction only comes into play with nuclear warheads. There's nothing to stop him conventional war spreading across them Baltic states. If we react with a nuclear attack or a nuclear weapon or a nuclear threat, then it's us that's risking the mutually assured destruction, right? We know Russia has the upper hand in their nuclear arsenal. We know that, and I think I can't help but I can't ignore that Trump has developed a better relationship with Putin over the past, like, since he got into power and the first time round. And in war games, it does paint, I think on purpose, the US not backing us up. I can't ignore that. So I think I think that worries me. I think there is a real threat. I don't know how much of it is the media preparing us for something. Yeah. I mean, if it was the BBC that had produced it, I'd think this has come straight from the government to say something. But it's Sky, so it's slightly more independent than the BBC, as it were. But you might argue that we're getting leaked prepping anyway, because, I mean, my first interview was on local Lancashire BBC Radio, then Radio 5, then BBC Radio 2, and it's like stepping up the game. And why would they run these little segments if they weren't trying to get some sort of message out? But I mean, it's the mutually assured destruction thing. I reckon it would be us to trigger that more than them. They know that they have the nuclear edge, and they know that they can push. And the only way we can push back without it escalating is conventionally. So,
if I might a sec, Steph, to go by what you just said about the war games, how America was portrayed to back off from NATO and basically be independent, they did a similar sketch of that in The Darkest Hour, where Winston was on the phone to, I think it was Roosevelt, and he asked for the jets, and he said, look, we can't unless I take it to the Canadian border and you pull them over with horses. See, I saw that in The Darkest Hour. Yeah, was it yesterday we watched that, Mrs. RP? Right. Yeah, so when we watched it yesterday, we both quoted the same thing. That's happening now, in a sense. Trump was showing all of the, right, you're playing with World War III, Zelensky, I've had enough, you get out. And now it's, oh, hang on a sec. I did threaten you before, saying I would drop a bomb on you if you touch Ukraine. I haven't done that. I've stayed your buddy old pal until my eyes opened up 2 days ago. So I'm still on the fence, but me and Mrs. RP think it could actually go the same way as what War Games has basically stated, you know, that the US will back off.
Well, I mean, he's kind of said that in a way to begin with, right? With this whole, if countries aren't pulling their weight and paying and stuff like that, then why should we come to their aid? Personally, I think they would still. I think we do have that relationship with America still. I think Trump is a good negotiator, and the things he's saying is to get better deals for the American people, and that's all it is. I think it's negotiation points. I do think they would, if it came to us being attacked. I don't think it would be as extreme as War Games painted it. I'd like to think it wouldn't be anyway.
I don't like how backed into a corner. It ended really weirdly as well. It felt like I watched your reaction to the ending, and I thought that felt really strange, and not at all like it felt like we've got something up our sleeve that we can't share with the public, like we've got something really confidential that we would do, that we absolutely cannot share. And obviously we don't know everything that the UK government has in their arsenal. That would be insane. So I like to think that we've got backup plans and contingencies, but
I think what we have is some of the best trained, not some of the best trained special forces units in the world,
yeah,
and we train other militaries for that reason. I think the problem we've got is the equipment doesn't back it up.
Yeah.
and most
That's
of
the
it's in
big-
Ukraine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's not just military equipment, infrastructure stuff, backups for our power grid, all sorts has been shipped away.
Yep.
So yeah, that's quite scary on that front. So we'll leave Ukraine for a sec. Hopefully, it'll all calm down. Do you think the Iran threat is credible, Steph?
I think got to be careful here. The individuals entering the country, we don't know who they are. I've got to be careful what I say.
No, I get what you're
yeah,
saying, and
I
we've
think-
always had that problem, like for years and years. And any country, you don't. It's not something to be careful to say. Any country that doesn't vet the people coming into it are going to have problems. You could be letting in a murderer, you could be letting in a criminal, anything like that. So
Absolutely.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you think we've seen an increase because there's an agenda behind it, though?
Yes, I think so. It's
That's scary because that's from within, right?
yeah. I can't ignore that terror attacks went up in increase with the migration, so that makes sense, right? That it.
Yeah, you're inviting trouble in, right? If you can't stop it and stuff like that, you can't. At least, I mean, I'm not saying don't take anybody in. There's people in war-torn countries that need, to be saved, as it were. But you need to come through the right channels. We need to know who you are. We need to know
here
what.
as an asylum seeker, a refugee, need help. Absolutely, come here. We can't conquer most of the world and then refuse to help historically. However, we're a very small island with limited resources, and we've got to be careful and protect ourselves as well.
I mean, based on that, Renegade, if 300,000, I don't know, let's say Spanish suddenly we're in the UK, and well, just for argument's sake, we're going to say a random country so we don't get the police knocking on our doors. And then Spain decided they wanted to cause us harm. How do you combat that when they're already in there?
See, now that's a good one. It all depends. It depends on
pesky Spanish. Just
well, it all depends, doesn't it? You're saying if it comes from within, in a sense. So find the credible source. Find where it started. That's where you start formulating your defense plan. It's all well and good that they're already here, and you've got yourself, you're a prepper, or someone who isn't a prepper. Oh, okay, what do I do? What's the government set out for me? It's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
So it's anyone's guess which way it would go.
And it seems to still be getting ignored. I don't know if you guys saw the PMQs, but Farage got up and just got absolutely heckled while he tried to kind of make this point.
You want the one where you one of the backbenchers went, "Shut up"?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I watched a bit of that earlier. I haven't fully watched it yet.
But they're all shouting and completely heckling him. It's like he's got a valid point, and he's speaking for a lot of people's concerns, but he's just getting dismissed over it. So yeah. I mean, you say you look for the source. Do you mean, so in that case scenario, in this fictitious scenario, would it then be to attack Spain?
No.
Or would it, how do you police what's already here? Would you have to round up the Spanish people?
in a sense, but without rounding up the Spanish people. Start with a list in a sense. So look at all the recent Spaniards that have come over that have a criminal background.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where you start identifying the source. Think of it as a cartel movement.
But why are they not doing this now already?
I mean, I'll probably get, in a sense, in trouble in saying this, but it's a bit of a freedom of speech. But just take a look at who's in charge right now. That's why. It's just too slow. We're getting the information on week 1, but it's not actually being utilized or even looked into till month 1 later.
Yeah.
You know, it's like with what's going on, like Ukraine aside, and mainly the most affairs in the world aside. Iran has got agents, as we know, throughout the world. That's the pending threat right now to the UK, because Ukraine, even though it's not in control, will use for a very loose term, in a form of control with what's going on with Russia.
Mm-hmm.
For all we know, we could wake up this time next week or next month to ITV News or Sky News saying sleeper agents have been activated throughout the UK. The streets are dangerous. Remain indoors. Or something like that, you know?
God help them when they try and tell the UK citizens to remain indoors after the last shambles.
Exactly. Look at it.
Yeah.
You got Boris Johnson. Oh, yes, everyone, just stay indoors.
I can't even get my friends to like stock water. Like, you know.
But this is it. People have their heads in the sand until it's happening, right? I mean,
well,
and water should be an easy argument to make, because how many news articles have you seen where it's contaminated? They've got water warnings, and the fact that we're technically going to be in a drought for the next week or so.
Yes,
it's madness.
Absolutely.
Maybe get a power bank and get some 5-litre water gallons. No, they're insane. Why would they do that?
I mean, I apologize, camera's off. I'm having a smoke. But no, I mean, in all honesty, right? Even people who can't prep or don't want to prep or think, oh, it's not for me, right? We've all said it. I know Mike said it till he's blue in the face. We all have. There's nothing wrong in just putting that extra £5 or £10 in every week or every fortnight or every month on just the extra essentials. If you don't want to be a prepper and go out getting, I mean, sorry, Brian, if you're watching, but getting loads of solar panels and things, you don't need to. If you're in Tesco's, pick up an extra tin of hot dogs. Pick up an extra, tin of something or a packet of something you would eat.
Yeah, but I mean, you're just talking logical there, and people don't accept that. They've lived through it. Everybody who's an adult now has lived through a time where they've had to queue 10 meters apart, wearing a mask over their forehead or wherever they decide to put it this week. That makes no difference whatsoever. And then go in and then be limited on what they can buy. And they've all seen it, and they've all panicked, and they've all fought over toilet roll. Yet as soon as it's over, everything's back to normal. It's fine. I don't need to spend that extra £5 a week that you're on about, Renegade, because I can put that towards this year's season ticket.
Yeah, so then you're just choosing, in my eyes, personal opinion, people. But yeah, at the end of the day, all you're doing then is proving you'd rather your pleasures over your priorities.
Yeah.
I could go and watch Green Day in concert. That's fair enough. What about if you've got a wife or kids or husband and kids? What about them?
It's about priorities, right? Nobody's saying stop your life to prep.
No, definitely not.
You still go and enjoy yourself and do things, but it's just, it's so easy to do. Prepping is free. You don't even have to spend money. You just learn things. You just make a plan. Planning's free. Tinfoil Hat, it's the plan to collapse the system for their Great Reset. World Economic Fund, WHO, UN, all have published the 2030 plan, says Gatwick Scuba. So you've just, all the words I've read there, Gatwick, just completely ruined the stream. YouTube's going to have a fit. But I mean, I think even if that's true, that there's some sort of agenda for all of this, for a Great Reset, I don't think they're competent enough to achieve it. They might be able to achieve the kickoff of it, but resetting it afterwards, I think they're dreaming. Scottish Prepper says, don't get power bank, the nerve. You can come on and shout at him if you want to, Brian. You're more than welcome.
Do it now.
it's always struck me as a bit of a pantomime. Yeah. How dare you, Rob? There's nothing wrong with Green Day. And all without Brian's help. Right. Yeah. So the question is, how do you prepare for that? I suppose we talk about the sensible way to start prepping is buy a few tins and stuff like that. But as a prepper already, Renegade,
Yeah.
with you seeing these threats both domestically and the World War III threat, how does that change your prepping? Or how can you even prep for that in this country where, you know, you'd be lucky to have a half an inch blade that bends?
Oh, don't get me started on that. I mean, I do see the logic behind it, don't get me wrong. But, you know, seriously, that's just restricting everybody's at-home self-defense. I don't condone going out with a 6 or 12-inch blade, but if it's for personal home deterrence in the world we're in now, they shouldn't have just said it's completely illegal. They should have, I don't know, for example, licensed it maybe. If you're a prepper or you're somebody that actually can prove in a sense, because everything clearly this day and age has to be evidenced and proven because face value isn't good enough anymore. I don't know, maybe they could have gone a slightly different like way around it. But for me, seeing what's going on with Ukraine, seeing that Iran could basically go nuclear any minute, because we all know they moved the uranium. Trump and the US did their best. I will say it in that sense, you know, because whether it's just the inner soldier or just the fact it was a B-2 bomber, just hearing the fact that a squadron of them was sent up, I was happy. That had a smile on my face. But, you know, joking aside on that aspect, seeing it all going on, we've got 3 children, one of which is 4 months old, a 2.5-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And potentially all 3 of them, plus his Mrs. RP, may potentially be autistic. We still don't know. So with that in account and being a prepper as well, I do prepare more than I should, I guess. Call me a panic prepper, not to the point where I go out and spend £300-400, but seeing what's going on in recent weeks, I've gone out and I've definitely made sure I've stocked up on double what I normally do. But that's mainly for the babies' essentials and the children more than Mrs. RP and myself, because we know bushcraft and, you know, we're places where to go to get actual mushrooms, not the poisonous kind. And, you know, little books we've picked up in libraries has taught us a lot over the years, and especially myself with training and whatnot.
Yeah, and you're in Wales, right? So you've probably got a lot more foraging opportunities than somebody in an urban environment might have, you know.
Oh, definitely. I mean, not far from where we live, not giving any places away, there's a beautiful little pond, and up there there's plenty of foraging areas, and they are quite prepper friendly up there as well, so it's got its bonuses down where we are.
Steph, you're quite new to the network and stuff like that. Are you the only prepper in the household? Is Mr. I'll call him Mr. Steph because I only know you as Steph.
My husband's also called Mike.
All right, there you go. It's a good name. He must be a good guy.
Mike he is very logical. We're both very common sense, like as it is. And COVID scared the hell out of me, like proper put the fear of God into me. And from COVID, I started to put like extra food aside, and I found your channel as well, and I found other prepping channels. And so just from there was like, this seems like common sense, to be honest. And my dad's a bit of a prepper as well, so
amazing how many parents are, because they're just of that generation, but you know.
Cold War. And my granddad he's a prepper for all intents and purposes, garage full of cans, and it's what you did during the Cold War. I don't think it's spoken about enough. Like, they don't call themselves preppers, they just called it common sense. So he grows his own food still in his 80s. So it's sort of it's generational in my family. And my husband's completely on board. We've got a 2-year-old, so it just completely makes sense to me. That this is, I can't understand why it's not mainstream to be more self-sufficient. Like, where's the Blitz spirit gone? Where's
I think that exists within the people if it was tapped into, but you might argue that it's in the powers that be's best interest to keep us reliant on this just-in-time supply. They have control that way, you know.
Possibly, yeah. Supply chains they're just so fragile, and I've got a few friends who work in logistics and lorry drivers, for example, and everything, like the co-op near me, they had the shortage with the logistics company cyber attack that happened. They didn't get any deliveries for a month, and they nearly had to go out of business, and it only took a few weeks for that to happen. It's small reclusive villages, sort of in, you know, the sort of where you can't get to a major supermarket, where everything's by car in the UK, in those little country rural areas. They are completely isolated and completely vulnerable to, like, more vulnerable, I'd say, than, you know, I live in quite an urban city. So it's that kind of thing that
where one of our members, it lives on one of the remote islands up in Scotland, and their only store there is a co-op.
That's
and he
terrifying.
was watching this happening, like, in front of him, like, people just literally had no food because they go shopping for the day they're going to eat and stuff like that, and I just find it insane. But I mean, you might argue cost of living, right? Some people can barely afford to eat week on week, so they just think they can't afford to prep, as it were, and they can't afford to have a stockpile. A good channel for anyone that is like that is in here somewhere. There we go. Suburban Preppers. Him and his wife are both preppers, and they do shops where they basically prep for the equivalent of £1 a day. So like a £20 shop will last, 2-3 weeks sort of thing, and they've got videos like that, and it just shows how cheap it is. But it's not the same as getting your meal from Marks and Spencer's every day, right?
I'd like to say, actually, on that subject of what I missed the start one day because I was busy rolling for Mrs. RP. 1 second. What was it that was put up just a second ago about a pound?
Oh,
there it is, Suburban. Yeah. So to further that, where I've seen some of Suburban Preppers videos, and to be fair, mega worth the watch. People in the chat, defo worth the watch. Me and Mrs. RP were in our local not long ago, and all we got was 4 items, and typically that would cost us about £6. We managed to get those same 4 items, same brands, in a different shop for the same price, because in Asda's it was up to, what was it, just over £13 for the milk, wasn't it? The formula for 2 of them. Or was it 16?
Formula's a rip-off.
16, there you go. Yeah, so in Asda, the 4 of them was up to 16. We managed to get them in Lidl for half the price.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. What really scared me was the mass government control and how quickly the media weaponized fear, mostly lies. You said it scared the life out of you, Steph. Can you remember specifically what triggered it? Was it just everything that was going on at the time? Was it certain reports coming through? My ex-partner at the time heard a WhatsApp message that was going around, an audio one, and it was apparently a nurse that's saying they were prepping ice rinks for bodies and stuff like that, and that made her completely go off the handle. It was fake. It was someone taking advantage of something, but it was completely fake. But what was it that triggered it as such?
I was in Budapest literally about 24 hours before lockdown happened. And in Budapest, I was out with my husband, and all of the bars started shutting in real time in front of us. And we were asking what was happening, because it was, a big nightlife city, really uncommon for that to happen. The bartender said, "We need to shut. There's something happening." And then we got to the airport, and there was absolute mass panic. Like, this airport was just in absolute chaos. People were putting masks on. They were handing out masks. Some of the bag attendants were already in PPE. There was an Austrian lady who said that she was really scared she wasn't going to get home because they were shutting the border to Germany. She couldn't get her phone to work. It was just absolute pandemonium. As we landed, Boris then came on screen on the news and said, "We're going that like classic lockdown spiel," and it just felt really surreal. And I've got elderly grandparents who have COPD, so that's partially why I was really
Yeah.
scared. Like I was like, we're young, me and Mike will be okay, but
Yeah.
I'm scared for my family. And so it was the media push and the actual real time pandemonium I was witnessing.
And how prepared were you before that happened? Like the stuff that was in your house, could you have lived for a while, or did you have to go and join the queues and stuff like that?
I'd actually gone to Costco before and bought like 6 months worth of toilet roll, and I have no idea why.
Premonition.
Like I got a sign from God or something, I don't know, but I had so much loo roll. I ended up having to share it because obviously there was a loo roll shortage. But I had a lot of stuff that I'd bought in bulk. I wasn't a prepper, but we managed to get through the panic buying without having to leave the house, which is good. We work from home, so we kind of managed to work around it.
Yeah, you're the same as me. Then you had to work. You didn't get this leave that everyone else got.
So yeah, just work through it from home and just watched.
If I may, Steph, when you said about it about Germany during COVID, when Boris made the announcement, I was in Heidelberg.
Oh, blimey.
So I was only on a holiday. I just went for a long weekend, and I was in Frankfurt train station getting my connection to Bismarckplatz. And that was when Boris came over my phone and said that the UK will be going into lockdown 24 hours later. So I had to do a U-turn and double back to Frankfurt to get to Frankfurt International to get the final flight back to Heathrow at 3 a.m. that morning.
Yeah, I had a worse go of it than I did. Yeah, we were like...
Can I do the my fish is bigger bit?
Go on then.
After lockdown started, my dad flew back from Wuhan.
Oh, no.
He was in Wuhan when it started. So he was a tool maker for ThyssenKrupp, and it's where some of their plant stuff is, and he goes over there with plants. I don't know if Brian's frozen or he's just really concentrating with that can of Pepsi. I think he might be frozen. But yeah, he flew back from Wuhan, and you know, for all the horror stories, he didn't have any issues at all. He got through and over here easier than I heard people coming back from France and Italy and places like that. So it shows that what we were told by the media and what was actually happening in real life may be slightly skewed.
See, I don't get that, because in Frankfurt International there was actually a real sense of calm. Yeah, I know it sounds stupid, but I had the best experience of my life. Okay, being a smoker, I was told, yeah, you don't need to go outside for your cigarette. You can go sit indoors. So I managed to sit and wait for...
I come back to the 90s.
Yeah, no, right? It was awesome. But no, like, I was sat there and I was speaking to a German fellow, and he said, I'm not panicking. He said, at the end of the day, this is something new, yeah, but what is the main role of humanity? And I was like, well, to live, to live your life as happy as you can. He went, no, as morbid as it sounds, we're all born to die. So one day or another, a bus could hit you, a plane could fall from the sky, or a virus could wipe you out. And I just looked at this guy, and there was no emotion in his expression or nothing.
He's clearly not a prepper. He's willing to accept it all.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
life and soul of the party, that guy.
Oh, hello, Trouble.
Mr. Feelgood.
How you doing, Brian?
All good.
You had fun with lockdown. You were jabbed a few times and stuff like that. What was your experience of it?
My experience was I was perfectly healthy until I took the jab, and then my health was fucked.
That's not the jab. That's the Pepsi. Just saying. So
that's crazy talk.
The real question is, what jabs did they give you though? Did you have a mix?
AstraZeneca.
Oh,
the
okay.
I can
vouch for Brian on that.
This definitely not getting monetized after this stream. We've said all the keywords tonight. Ryan, the whole conversation originally was about the state of the world, World War III, stuff like that. This Iran threat that's now a watchdog thing that's come out today saying physical threats in the UK since 2023. Where do you think we stand with all of this, and where do you see it going, especially the Ukraine side of things? Is there an end game for Russia that doesn't involve big fiery balls in the sky?
The Ukraine one's a difficult one because the Russian economy is now finally running out of steam and money. And desperate people make stupid mistakes. So if there's going to be any sort of peace, it'll be a peace that both sides don't like, and they'll both have to give ground and both be unhappy. How likely that is at the moment, I don't know. I don't think it's realistic at the moment. Trump's tried to bully both parties into it, and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, I mean, that was his whole rhetoric of, I'm going to stop this war within the first 24 hours and stuff like that. You think he thought he had more clout than he did, right?
And I'll give the crazy tango man his due. He did threaten both sides, albeit the Ukrainians more so, and didn't get anywhere. You know, his special relationship with Vlad the Mad, that's came to nothing. He's just laughing at him and ignoring him now. The Ukrainians have turned more to Europe for weapons, and the US has become a little bit of an unreliable partner. From their perspective, they've been shouldering the financial burden of NATO more than they should. I agree with that, I get that. But he's using a 14-pound hammer to smash a walnut at the moment. So I don't know what the end in sight is for Ukraine. The worst case scenario for me would be if Russia does a false flag operation and does something really, really bad in Russian territory, blames Ukraine, and then start dropping little hot pockets. I don't think ballistic missiles. I think maybe possible tactical nuclear ones.
Is that not their into the Baltic states, though, to do that and say, oh, it was Poland that did it? Poland attacked us here, etc.
If they wanted to take the Baltic states, they could probably do it in about 3 days flat, because the NATO forces that are deployed there are basically just bumps in the road. And they would probably steamroll them very, very quickly.
We thought the same with Ukraine at first, though, right?
Ukraine had space to trade. The Baltic states don't.
Right.
Ukraine's got a certain amount of, and also they've got bodies. They've got a lot more fleshy bullet magnets than the Latvians and the Lithuanians have. So they don't have the population density, and they don't have the land mass to trade for time. Apart from Poland would be their nearest and best equipped ally to come to the raid. But if Russia managed to take the Baltic states quickly under a pretext, and then said, we'll take these, but we're going no further, if any NATO forces come here, we'll take it as a existential threat to the state and react accordingly. What do you think most of Western Europe would do under threat of nuclear Armageddon? I don't think they'd obey their treaty obligations, personally.
I think they'll roll over. This is what I was saying. If it's, Steph mentioned mutually assured destruction, I think if that comes into play, it would have to be us that instigate it, right? He's quite happy to run a conventional war, knowing he's got that to back up.
I mean, if NATO actually grew some bollocks, they could pretty much flatten the logistics chain of Russia, its command and control networks, in about a week flat. The Northern Fleet would be little rusty anchors in a very short space of time. Conventionally, they would be outmatched if it was only a kick the anthill over operation. See, like, say, Iran, go in, kick over all the things, and then don't put any boots in the ground and jump out. They could do that quite handily. But Russia's got a war-footing economy. They've ramped up. The West has slowly said, well, you know, we might build a factory or two in 5 years. We're not grasping the gravity of the situation, I don't think.
Well, there you go. So, timeline on it, Brian?
Depends how quickly the Russian economy takes a shit and how much Putin believes his life's in danger from his own cronies. And it's like a manager. You never get a good manager to replace a bad one. You always get a complete and utter dick to replace the last one, who's worse than the first one. So depends who replaces Vlad the Mad.
Yeah.
He might be worse.
Yeah, this is the problem.
I mean,
Renegade.
Medvedev, when he was president, was very moderate in tone, but from the sidelines, he's been making all the threatening statements because he's playing to an audience. There's a lot of theatre.
Yeah. Regime change. We didn't talk about that, Renegade. Do you think that's a possibility? Do you think he's got too much control?
Yeah, way too much. I mean, look, I'll just quote one thing that we know is open news. Some of his understudies have been fired and accidentally fallen out of a window. Paranoia much? Even though we know it goes on and it has done for years, look at how quick. We're talking within hours, not within days like it used to be years ago. Hours of being fired to then being found dead accidentally.
Well, I mean, you just need to look at North Korea as an example of that. What was it? One got strapped to an anti-aircraft cannon. That's how he was fired, literally.
Sent him out with a bang.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's slightly off the topic, but it does kind of play into it. I was just having a check on some of the Ukraine stuff on the second monitor, and it's like no negotiations between Ukraine and the Russian Federation yet, because the exchanges were they agreed on earlier have not yet been completed. And that was said 5 hours ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like with regime change. Now I'm back on the right monitor. Now it's like with regime change. He's too scared. People are ending up dead after being fired. At least this one didn't actually fall out of the highway. Yeah, exactly, Suburban. Sorry. But no, I see this going to be talks of stalemate. If there was a stalemate, there would have been a regime change planned to try and either overcome a stalemate, to have either a victor or a draw of some description, and everyone goes back to borderlines. But what's more likely a realistic scenario? No regime change. Putin will stay in power as long as he can. He will mess the system to stay in power as long as he can. It's either going to take being taken out of the question, being one of them, which, like we've seen, there's been assassination attempts on Zelensky foiled. He's scared that that's what's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
So he'll do anything he can.
This is all serious. I think we need a Disco Brian break. There we go.
Nobody needs to see that before 11 o'clock. There should be a watershed.
I don't know, a guy that rages on about solar power and a million power banks can't even get a light to work for the last 6 months. I don't know.
That's the second one. I bought the same model to replace it, and it started doing the same shit.
From Jimmy the Gypsy.
Pikey special.
Oh,
but Mike, same question to you though. Do you think regime change is on the cards or not?
I think it'd have to be a massive coup. I think he will clutch to power for as long as he can, and hopefully pass the baton to somebody who he thinks has got the same agenda, which will then he'll be softer to be more malleable to it, I suppose. I don't see it as a direct change. Like, I don't see, the problem is he's selling the propaganda, and 80% of the people are eating it up and buying it. We've seen people on our channel, in our Discord, that also are eating it up, that think, they're the good guys sort of thing in this situation. So
I know who you mean.
£2 donation from Jonathan Botterill for an extra candle. Okay. Thank you very much. They're expensive candles at £2 each. But I can't see it. But again, I said to you, I can't see it escalating either. I just see it as this saber rattling, and hopefully that's all it ever ends up. I see Iran, not the place or the people, but the regime there, as more of a threat to us and to the Western world than I see Russia at the moment.
They don't fear death the same as the Russians do. They're not
exactly.
They're not a known quantity. They're not reasonable, or facets of them. Don't get me wrong. The vast majority of the Iranians are peace-loving people who don't want to die, same as you and me. But they've got the same or similar assholes in power that they are subject to their whims and wishes. But there's also hardcore zealots, nut jobs. And like you were talking about earlier, we've had uncontrolled borders for a number of years, and we have no idea what weapons, munitions, comm systems, target scouting and recce's that have been done. But what we do know is we've had a lot of fires and substations. We've had a lot of shopping centres and factories and warehouses going up in Poland and Western Europe.
Yeah.
How long? We've got 55,000 unsecure substations in the UK. You could drive past them and do all sorts of untold shit to the power grid. And
It doesn't matter if they're secured or not. If you can get into a RAF base and spray paint and vandalise planes, then what chance has security of our infrastructure got?
I'm just waiting to see the next Iranian military parade when all it's got is a couple of electric scooters and a guy with a shotgun driving up the road. Because apparently that's all it's needed. In fact, it'll be a fire extinguisher. It won't even be a bloody gun.
A couple of wire cutters. Someone commented, a couple of wire cutters, a four-man team could take out most of our grid overnight. You decimate the UK's infrastructure, like.
And with that, you're only talking physical. If we start talking cyber threat, it's even more vulnerable. You know, we've probably got more security on the cyber front than we've got on the physical front. But yeah, it's the threats from everywhere. So this all feels like it's bleeding into Brian's pitch for city plumbing solar panels. I don't know. It always ends up that direction. So
sadly, we're so reliant on power for convenience to make our lives livable, because most people don't have homesteading skills. They don't have a homestead. If they lose power, most people will lose their life, and that's a reality. We can talk about candles and tents in the house till we're blue in the face, but for 99% of the population, we require power for the essentials of life, because we've lost the core skills of being self-sufficient. We're dependent on the state and state infrastructure. And if we lose that, we're in the shit. That's why I've got a major thing about power and promote power and talk about power, because if we lose that, we're pretty fucked.
yeah, you can prep without 300 power banks. We'll just throw that out there for other people.
You can't. That's crazy talk, Mike. What have you been smoking?
I don't know, but I lit it with my candle, which I don't need power for. Jonathan Botterill mentions another front that we've not touched on. China and Taiwan. I mean, I put some reports on Discord the other day saying about basically China saying they're going to help Iran now and stuff like that. How true it is, how accurate it is, obviously we've got to take all of it with a pinch of salt. But there's so many reports that even reading between the lines, there must be some element of a truth in there somewhere. China's the big player for me here. I mean, does anyone agree there? They could tip the balance of any of these powers. Iran, Russia, North Korea. They could tip the balance of any of it.
China's biding their time. China is bleeding the Western governments dry with lots of little proxy wars that they're supporting. They're supporting Iran. They're supporting Russia. They're supporting North Korea. All of these things are distractions and use up men and material that would otherwise be a potential threat to them. So they don't even need to fire a bullet at the moment to spread and cost treasure. And
you think there's a move? Do you think there's a move at the end of that chess game after all the pieces are in place? Do you think there's a move for them?
The pieces are in place now. I think they're just gambling to see the day or when it's likely Ukraine and Russia are going to have a peace treaty. The day before that happens, China would have to strike, because that's their window of opportunity will come to a close then. If there's no more war in Western Europe, there's no more distractions for weapons. And that all the things that are bleeding the West dry, supplying lots of munitions to Ukraine. If we're no longer doing that, they're more of a threat to China if they invade Taiwan. But China only needs to drop enough troops to hold it and then say, well, you're not going to get it.
Is that
I mean,
their is that their only end game? You don't think they've got further ambitions, though?
I don't think so. Being honest, genuinely, I think they would stop at Taiwan.
Because they're already very heavily invested into Western culture, right? So they don't really want to compromise that too much. You know, I've just done a Temu review, so I'm guilty of supporting that sort of thing. But they've a lot of trade across all the West. They probably would like to get the embargoes lifted from the USA, but
Who runs the countries? It runs on money, predominantly. Money talks, and it's always stopped. So after the initial furore, and that's terrible, you've taken Taiwan and all the rest of it, how long do you really think, unless there was massive loss of life in the Americans, how long do you think it would be before the West started to trade with them again?
yeah. I mean, that's the play there for me, Apocalypse Now, changing it from basically they becoming the world leader, as it were, you know, the flip of using the American dollar for everything. So is it something you've thought about, Steph? You've been quiet here on this one. The China threat.
Yeah, I keep an eye on it. I don't like to talk about things I don't know a whole lot about. China, they're so, as you said, they're so invested, they're so weaved into everything, and we have such a good relation. Well, I don't know. I'm not the foreign secretary, but it seems like we have pretty decent relationship with China.
Yeah, I mean, we still have
so
their cars that America's not allowed to sell and stuff like that. So we've got good trades with them.
I can't see China. They would do it insidiously if they were going to make a move and become the next, I think, the US, essentially, the world police, essentially. If they were going to try and take US's place, they would do it slowly. And as Brian said, if they take Taiwan, it will be like, we've got it now. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't think. Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult. It's who they support that worries me. Renegade, have you got any insight into this? Because my only I agree with everyone. They're fully integrated into us. I mean, I've got a Chinese car on the drive. Sorry, you know, I'm part of the problem, not the solution, as Shadow Scout Swede would say. But they are integrated financially with all the West, but then they support places like North Korea, who is a wild card, who could change the course of, you know, Seoul and South Korea at any point, you know. So what's your thoughts on it? Do you think they've got a bigger play? Or
Oh yeah, look at the positioning of their fleet out Taiwan. Also, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, they showed off, it was either China or North Korea, showed off their new massive warplane. This ain't just saber rattling with them. They've got an agenda. They've got a plan. Look at Midway, how that was planned. 1 minute everyone was still nice as pie, all friends, and then the next, we'll meet at Midway, for use of better terms. So no, there's a lot at play here. I think China is playing the long game, acting all nicey. Yeah, you rub my back, I'll rub yours. I'll, you know, cause a bit of a kerfuffle with Trump, make it look like we got a problem with them, but everything's all right with the UK and a few of the EU. But as soon, and I think I've seen a report, and I actually agree with this report, Taiwan's waiting for Putin to make one hell of a move in Ukraine, either against Ukraine or by passing Ukraine and attacking NATO direct, causing a decoy tactic.
yeah, that's what Brian was saying. That distraction is their last opportunity.
To be fair, I do apologize. I completely missed what Brian was saying because Mrs. RP found a post that came up that Lithuania.
Don't worry about it. I don't listen to him in any streams, so it's fine.
No wonder you two get on so great then. It's because every day's a new experience. But no, I mean, you know,
how rude.
Look, hey, you got Pepsi. That's all you need.
This is true.
But no, I mean, look at the way they've placed all their vessels around Taiwan.
Yeah. I mean, they've got the training exercise going. We all think they're going to take Taiwan. I suppose the question is that it?
I think I know when they're going to do it. I'm that confident. I think I know when they're going to do it.
Go on, give us a timeline.
I'm going to say it's going to happen by July next year. They're going to invade Taiwan by July next year. And the only reason I say that, yes, no one believes the long range forecasts, you know, things like that. But to be fair, a few sources that I look at for like how calm the seas are going to be like throughout the different times of year. You look at ones from between 2025 to 2028. Looking at those, July, from the start of June to the end of July of next year, the seas are going to be at their calmest around Taiwan. Now, if that is true and that remains the forecast, you've not only gained tactical superiority because the seas are calm, you're not dealing with any roughage, easier flights, easier tracking, and a lot more stability when you're shooting. It's prime tactical and strategical advantage to China to take on Taiwan then.
So go on, Brian, if that happens, does Trump have to make a move as an ally of Taiwan? Because, I mean, or is he going to sit back and say, well, there's nothing we can do?
The Chinese have been building and outbuilding the American Navy for nearly 5 years in the trot now. They've
And
got more
drones
shipyards.
and robotic technology, they are well advanced, yeah.
They have got the home turf advantage. They've got a shorter logistics chain. They have got their aircraft can carry more kit because it's taken off from land airfields. The Americans, whilst they've got significant force projection ability, they're running at the end of their logistics chain, and it's a loss-leading proposition for them.
Yeah.
Strategically, they're fighting at the end of the logistics chain. Too many ways for it to be chopped up. They don't have a home turf advantage. They don't have a numerical advantage in the ocean anymore. I don't see it as being winnable.
Yeah. So do you think they would have to accept it?
If China can take it in a very short space of time, so they're trying to turn Taiwan into a porcupine so that can't happen. But if they're willing to expend a lot of bodies to take it and hold it, it would take hundreds of thousands of troops to take it back against an entrenched enemy with very close support for the homeland. I don't think it's winnable in a conventional war for them if they take it quick.
I think that they are going to be the world superpower at the end of the day. So what they do with it, I suppose, at the end of the day. I still log in. It's just Jay said there, the West is funding Chinese military growth, and while everyone else is in conflict, they can sit there and let that grow. They're rubbing their hands together.
I, for one, embrace our new Chinese overlords.
America would have to use air superiority. It's but like I say, the logistics chain of getting them there, the home turf advantage is massive, right? Like you said.
The F-18 is old tech, and it was a fudge when they built it because they put extenders on it because they basically lied and cheated on the weight loading calculations for its range. So they were going to build their own stealth aircraft, A-12 Avenger, and scrap that. The Chinese have got more modern aircraft and closer range. The Americans have got the B-2, B-21 on board soon. But it's low numbers. It's small beans. No, it's just no realistic for me.
Yeah. Great Gala says China needs to finish building their bridge ferries. Mark says, I guess the climate isn't an issue anymore. They need more fear in the world to maintain control. US wants a war with China to try and weaken them so the US stays dominant. The US will lose. I get that. Yeah, that's a fight they really should not want to start. US first chip plant in Arizona is producing 4 nanometer chips now. The second plant is expected to produce 2 nanometer chips, but not until 2028. Then China moves in. UK and US will always be the number one when we have tactical advantage from our past and new stuff not talked about.
I don't know if I agree with that, Phil, to be honest.
I don't think I agree with that either.
I mean, I might agree with your tactical advantage. I'd still, to this day, will say we've got the best trained military and the best tactical military in the world. We just haven't got the equipment to back it up. You know, US has got the equipment, but they're quite far away from all of this. You know, will become their unsinkable aircraft carrier again.
See, I gotta say, there was a point raised in the last, I think it was the prep the fireside it was touched on actually, about home defense.
We don't talk about home defense. We're not allowed to talk about home defense.
Oh yeah.
Home defense is 999. Please come and defend me.
No, I mean like in the sense, yeah, exactly. No, I mean in the sense of I got a few buddies down at the squadron near me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about like, oh no, we got a strong military in a sense. We do. With the best military we've got is the RMCs, the Green Berets. I mean, I may be biased to point them out straight away, but but no.
You can have many arguments with different different people.
That's true.
Let's just say in general, I knew some angry Royal Green Jackets that would argue with you. So carry on.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. No, I can agree with you on that, especially down the local pub. But no, no, it's like we've got the deterrence on our home turf. But when you're talking China being the great power, and then one of the comments here about the US going with against China and losing, me and Mike and a few other gamers who've played this genre know how this is going to end. If China tries to become the ultimate power, they'll have to build a time machine and go back in time, just like Red Alert 3, because it ain't going to happen. I don't think China would become the superpower. I actually genuinely think it would be Japan.
They haven't got the capacity, manpower, or manufacturing anymore in Japan.
That's why I say it. It's not about the manpower. It's about the technology.
Yeah, but it's about the manufacturing of said technology.
Ah, damn, yeah, you got me there, actually. I didn't think of that side.
On
Manufacturing capacity. Go on.
That
yeah,
then,
no, that's fair.
Japan's birth rate doesn't support that. That they're trying to import foreigners to try and keep their birth rate up. They're really struggling. Most
I didn't know this. I could have volunteered years ago.
Literally paying people to go out there and speed things up.
On
Never like it, they said I shirked my civic duty.
just for research purposes, what's the website?
On that, Italy also doing this as well. So birth rates dropping across so many countries. I think that's going to be a massive problem. Like in terms of all this talk about war, just manpower alone, like our birth rate in the UK is awful at the moment.
Oh yeah.
But I could get this wrong. I think the lowest is South Korea, and then followed by Japan.
Yeah.
But Japan don't have their like they used to be. Like they wanted China, didn't they? They committed all sorts of things in China. But what we're talking about China a minute ago, something popped into my brain. Would China try to take out some kind of ancient revenge? Potentially on Japan.
I mean, stranger things have happened. If we talk about Putin's motives being the old USSR, then yeah, I mean, it would all depend who's in power and how. I mean, I really think they're monetary motivated at the moment, so I don't think that would be an issue. But as a regime, they are a communist regime, as it were, so it only takes one nutter to ascend to power to then activate something like that, I suppose. Empires rise and fall in cycles approximately 250 years. The US time is coming to an end and China is rising. Don't need to believe me, go research.
I agree with that to an extent. Yeah, the British Empire's time passed. The Roman Empire's time passed. At some point, it's the twilight of a civilization, if not an empire. And I think ours is well and truly gone. And America's probably turned the page for them as well. It's China's turn. Then it'll be probably India's turn.
Yeah. We'll go full circle at some point when we get back into power in a couple of thousand years.
Well, it's like the old saying of history repeating itself. It'll be the same. This is just like a cycle. It'll run its course and then it'll just kickstart all over again.
USA birth rate is down to 1.3 per couple, says Magic Acres. So, I mean, I'm doing my bit, guys. I've got 5 kids, so come on. The 5
you certainly
kids
are. You're good.
I know of.
Well, population is always the key to survival. But
You're going
Mike,
to live forever then.
I'm immortal.
did you manage to finally watch the Donald Trump threatens to bomb Moscow thing?
No, I didn't. Like I say, I was in the office all day, sort of thing. I got back 45 minutes before we started this, so I had time to eat.
Yeah.
I've not even eaten.
Have you guys seen it?
I need to watch it.
Whoops, I saw a little footnote in it. I didn't watch it.
I would just say this. It's... You wouldn't expect it.
Go on, give us the shortened lowdown.
The short and lowdown is basically he said the quote unquote, I will bomb the shit out of Moscow if you touch it, if you touch Ukraine. And it's a recording.
That worked well.
I'll link it in the Discord later if there's a link already. It is uncanny.
Yeah. I've not seen that. Are you on? You need to get on the Discord, Mark. You need to get on the Discord.
Because I can't present it, can I? No.
You should be able to share, I think.
See if I can pull it up on YouTube a sec.
While he's doing that, the other subject, I quickly want to touch on it. The heat wave. We'll ignore Brian, he's in Scotland. We've all seen what that...
Yeah, the real heat wave we're getting up here. Oh no, however will I cope? Just one jacket tomorrow. I'll wear the small coat.
Yeah, you can have an opinion though, Brian. I mean, have you seen the maps that are going around where it's like a weather report from like the 90s and up to the early noughties? 28 degrees was like a lovely sunshine and everyone's saying, oh, it's going to be great weather this summer, blah, blah, blah. Now it's red and threats and droughts and stuff like... Why the extreme change when it's the same temperature? Any ideas on that? More fear?
Fear sells in all things. Look at your tins of food. They've got red labels, green labels, yellow labels, everything all on. Everything's got big scary numbers or big scary colours on it to influence you. Whether it's in the supermarket, whether it's you're buying a fucking fridge freezer, it's got all the ratings. Everything's designed to elicit a response from us, Joe Public.
Like my liquid death water.
Right, I think I got it ready.
Go on then, you show that and we'll come back to this.
Just a quick sound check.
China.
I can hear something, but...
Go again.
No, we must be getting it through feedback. I don't think it's playing sound through it.
Okie doke. Let me just change one thing on it. Sorry, guys. I've never used this before, so...
If you present and share screen, there should be a checkbox at the bottom when you go to share to say audio source.
I got it.
Yeah. There we go.
Right, let me mute my mic.
The Ukraine is a bomb in Moscow. I'm telling you, I have no choice to the public. So he goes like, I don't believe you. He said, no way. And I said, wait. And then he goes, I don't believe you. But the truth is, he believed me 10%. And I told you this, he believed me 10%. Then I'm with President Xi of China. But I said the same thing to them. I said, if you go into Taiwan, I'm going to bomb Beijing. He thought I was crazy. He said, Beijing, you're going to bomb Beijing. I said, I have no choice. I got to bomb them. With that, the world awaits. And I look forward to our personal discussion, which I think begins now.
I mean, when was this recording from then?
His first term.
Yeah, from his first term.
He's going to own their cities
Go ahead.
and make them pay for it.
You should see what people have been saying all over Sky News and The Sun about it as well. It's been in the headlines off and on throughout the day. It's great.
I mean, he's made them threats during his last term, right?
Yeah.
And people are bringing it up because it's newsworthy and they're digging things up and stuff like that. But I mean, I assume the countries in question have had multiple conversations since. I mean, he called Little Rocket Man, didn't he? Kim Jong Un. He had a whole spat with him, and then he was the first president to then step over the demarcation line thing. So it's a swings and roundabouts. I think it's headline grabbing stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Trump just says mad shit like that. There you go. Yeah, there we go. I mean, yeah, interesting. Heatwave, Steph, are you worried about drought, dehydrating, and dying in 28 degrees of heat?
I love reading about climate change, and it sounds really strange. I was brought up, so I was born in 1995, so I've been brought up with the global warming fear like instilled into my veins, sort of thing. Like from
Sorry, just enjoy Brian's face, how old he felt when you said that. Carry on. Sorry.
So yeah, I was like
1995. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, that's horrible. That makes me feel like absolute dog shit. Thanks for that.
you're good.
Yeah,
So,
go on. Sorry.
From the 2000s, it was just drilled into us like the planet is melting, and there's like we're burning fossil fuels, but we're not going to stop doing it. So I asked a lot of questions like, what's this about? What are we going to do anything about it? And I guess the answer is no. I do a lot of research, and I try desperately to understand whether it's genuinely happening or not. And I won't go on a rant about the research that backs up the IPCC, but I can share it in the Discord. But essentially, it's based on paleontological cloud data from when the dinosaurs were alive. But I don't think the dinosaurs kept very good records of their clouds, so that's particularly interesting. So carbon dioxide makes the planet hotter. Carbon dioxide was very, very plentiful when dinosaurs roamed the earth. They were fine. So no, I think it is getting warmer, but I think it's something to do with the fact that the earth goes through cycles of warming and cooling naturally. El Nino.
Well, I mean, we probably have more of a detrimental effect than any species before us, though, right?
Yeah, we're speeding things up, but I don't think it's happening as fast as they think it's happening, basically. Like, it will probably be a problem in 2100. It will probably be a problem. I worry about my child dealing with the after effects of it. I think we're in the golden period right now, which they don't necessarily want to talk about, where we get really great weather and crops like thrive, and then it will become a problem towards the end of the century, essentially. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Again, like it's just like common sense, really. Just keep safe in the heat. Don't get heat stroke. Don't dehydrate.
Do you think? I mean, you might not remember the weather from the weather reports from the 90s if you were like between 1 and 5 then, but you might have seen the pictures up there. Do you think they're making a big scary deal out of it now to try and push people down the environmental side of things?
I think that they need to get people on the net zero pathway. They need to get people's buy-in, and money talks. So what's the easiest way to get people to go along with something? Scare them. So I'm not scared of 30-degree heat. Most people aren't. I worry about our infrastructure, though. I do worry that the hotter it gets in England, we can't even handle a bit of snow in England. Everything grinds to a halt.
We are not prepared for any weather extreme. We're prepared for like the middle ground. You know, when we have like 3 inches of snow, the country stops. In Canada, they throw chains on the tires and keep going.
Look at Beast from the East.
You what?
Look at Beast from the East.
Yeah.
Like Gary Glitter.
Oh dear.
Oh, no.
We apologise for our friend. He is Scottish. He has no filter. Actually, talking in 1995, if you want to feel old and blame somebody for global warming because of CO2, it might be me restoring an old Xbox original. I do restoring in the past times. You got Brian and all, make you feel old if you'll show up. Hang on.
Oh.
Let me take off the filter. And you guys can see something old.
That's a modern console.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, I had an Atari 2600.
So did I, but still, that was the OG ones back in the day.
Yeah. 1995, I'm just trying to think. I'd have been about what? 27? That's right. That's really bad. I can't. I'm
not so bad. I only just started secondary school. So 95.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
That's me kids.
Brian, Mrs. Urban Prepper was born in 1999. Toy Story, the movie's older than her.
You're a wrongin'.
I'm an opportunist.
Has anybody watched 28 Days on a Sedgway?
No,
28 years later?
No, I haven't. So stop right now.
No spoilers.
We know that you've got some strong feelings on the matter. Well, let me watch it before you slate it.
Watch it and let me know what you think. I mean,
I will do.
Oh,
Renegade, you're in a similar position to Brian, but the other wet and windy place.
Yes.
But is the heat wave? Do you think it's affected you there?
Me as a person, no, I'm enjoying it. I'm loving having a bit of heat. Being arthritic, a bit of heat's actually a lot more beneficial than just cold and damp. But I mean, as for, like I said earlier, local to us, our reservoir is running a little low. And there is an old story behind it that I'm not too familiar with, but apparently there's some kind of village underneath the reservoir, and if it drops to a certain point, you can see the top of the bell tower of the church. And that's what people around here kind of use as the guideline of, oh yeah, it's dropped to quite low levels now. But because we're in the process of moving, we're not exactly doing the garden or anything, so we're not using up all that much water. We've got supplies of water anyway stored just in case.
Yeah.
So for us, not really. I mean, it's quite easy sailing. Pardon the pun on that being the hosepipe ban and that. But no, it's been pretty smooth sailing for us at the moment. I've
got a Love Evil Girls comment there. With the weather getting warmer, it's technically going through the menopause, seeing as we call it Mother Nature. So,
well, yeah.
Brian, does it seem mad to you that you, not so long ago, were looking at an underground, disused, no longer needed underground reservoir for sale, yet our reservoirs dry up in no time at all?
Yeah, there's a stunning lack of infrastructure across the board, whether it be water reclamation, treatment. I mean, and it seems to be more a southern problem. All you see in the news is hosepipe bans, leaking reservoirs, untreated water, and it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Surely it should be a national emergency that people require water. And yet nobody bats an eyelid when 40,000 people get no water for a fortnight.
Yeah.
Why is that not a thing? Christ, it happens in Africa. They get a fucking concert.
Yeah. Are we going to start Southerner Aid?
I'm going to start. I'm going to do a concert for them. I'll send you down some bottles of water, some Highland Spring.
When I lived in Aberdeenshire, we had feet of snow for weeks. Nothing stopped. Everyone just took like the Michelin Man, looked like the Michelin Man, and had wellies surgically removed in spring.
I do think the weather has changed.
It wasn't your prepping journey started because of the extreme weather, right?
2010, yeah, that was it. That was the last really bad winter that I can remember. The seasons have changed. The last 5 years in a row, May's really nice weather, like scorching, beautiful weather, and then July and August it's pissing down.
I remember a white Christmas, but I was very young. And I don't mean white Christmas like the Met Office and bookies have, where one snowflake has to fall on Christmas Day and it's classed as a white Christmas. I mean white, like open the curtains and all through December it's snowy, snowball fights at school. That's not happened for a long time, right?
Yeah, exactly. The seasons have changed. I believe the seasons have changed. But does it warrant bankrupting the economy of just our country? Bear in mind, all the other evolving industrialized countries aren't doing shit, right? But we're going to bankrupt our economy, crash our power grid. You do our part, and it'll make like what 3% difference, really.
Yeah. 2010 snow was a one-off. We are due one again, says World Survivors. Yeah, every year, though, the newspapers say it's going to be the worst winter ever in 50 years, in 1,000 years, and we have a bit of snow and then it's gone.
I posted about that yesterday.
Did you?
They're talking about it being the worst winter ever is coming. It's really, really bad. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, well, you should be doing your winter preps now because everything's cheaper. Yeah, so we're not scared of the weather. It's just fear tactics, I suppose, at the end of the day.
I am probably going to call it for me at that, mate, because I'm up for work tomorrow.
I'm about to end it anyway, buddy. So, yeah.
I got kids. I got to be up in the morning.
Thank you to everyone in the chat. We had 100 people for a regular time through that 2 hours. Thank you, Steph, for joining us for the first time. Hope it wasn't too nerve-wracking for you.
Good, thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Would you like to all just say goodbye, and I'll just end it?
Yeah.
Bye, folks.
Take
See you
care.
later.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.